Being a layperson does not necessarily mean that you are less holy than priests. In many cases, I'm convinced of the opposite. While I haven't heard the confessions of hundreds of priests or religious, I can say that I've heard more than a few and that I go to confession myself. To say that priests are necessarily holier than lay people, that we've moved beyond sin or are living on a different plane than everyone else, is just foolishness. Priests and religious, like everybody else, struggle with sin. Sometimes it's small, but also sometimes it's big. You don't get ordained and automatically give up your bad habits. You don't get tasked with being a shepherd and instantly become a saint. Some, maybe even most, priests are incredibly holy, taking seriously their call to live holy and pure lives after the example of Jesus, and this is inspiring to see. But this doesn't mean that we don't sin or aren't struggling deeply, or that we are any holier than lay people. I can tell you that as a priest, I am constantly humbled in the confessional by the lives of lay people. I'm amazed by their dedication to faith, their hatred of their sins, and their insistence on growing in holiness. Lay people, as a rule, should not feel inferior in faith to priests. Some of you both shame and inspire us by your life. My hope in sharing this is to encourage you to keep going. Don't be afraid to let your life shine. Just because you aren't a priest doesn't mean that you're not holy or that you can't make a difference in the church. Sometimes you are actually holier than your pastor, and you need to be an example to him and to your fellow disciples. What happens if a priest is in a state of mortal sin, but celebrates the sacraments anyway? While priests do have a special ordination that allows us to act in the person of Christ and celebrate the sacraments, we remain human, meaning that we are still susceptible to temptation and sin. Unfortunately, history has shown us that this is all too possible. Because of this, some are led to wonder, if a bad priest celebrates a baptism or marries a couple, is that sacrament still valid, or does the church need to do it over again? The question was first raised in the early church when some priests apostatized to save themselves from persecution, but later returned to the church. Some believed that they needed to be rebaptized and that sacraments performed by these priests were invalid. Thankfully, St. Augustine disagreed, arguing that what makes a sacrament valid is not the holiness of the priest, but of Christ working through the priest. While a priest in mortal sin harms his own soul by celebrating a sacrament unworthily, the sacrament itself remains valid for those who receive it. Christ, the true minister of the sacraments, is not tainted by the sin of his instruments.